Hello everyone. So today is still the 28th. Whoops, just dropped a bunch of stuff. Okay, sorry about that. So today is the 28th of December, and since I've taken a few days out from doing these videos since I started, which wasn't too long ago, a few weeks or so, I have come back and I just wanted to kind of catch up on some commentary, some views and opinions that I want to share with you. So I'm in the United States, in case you're new to the channel and you don't know. I am also biracial, just throwing that in there. And of course, I'm a woman. So I wanted to just kind of go forward and let you know that I wanted to do an extra video today, which may post later today and it may post tomorrow, whenever I can get back to it. But I wanted to take a minute at 12:40 right now and look at this particular article on metro.co.uk, I believe. So you can check that out yourself. But Meghan and Harry trademark hundreds of items, sparking rumors of a magazine launch. Now, it's not the only trademark they took out. They took out hundreds. It's wonderful when you're that wealthy that you can do that. So she and Harry have taken out hundreds of trademark for products and services under the Royal Foundation. So let's read that. Prince Harry and Meghan are trademarking hundreds of items under their Royal Sussex brand. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have trademarked hundreds of items under the Sussex Royal brand, including clothing, magazines, and newspapers. It has emerged. Now this, I want to stop right here and just reflect a minute. Now we know that Harry and Meghan are suing or have sued publications in the UK. And they're suing, quite a few, I think, for various reasons. Now, that's a little reflective on this particular thing going on right now. As we head into 2020, we see that Meghan Markle is head-sparing this whole thing to merch a lot of different things. Now, when I said that in my last video, I think I touched upon, we're going to have some merching coming up from Meghan, but she found a way to make it legitimate, pulling it all through the foundation. So when she's merching other people's things, for instance, like when she was merching earrings from the California jeweler, I think it's Jennifer Myers. When she was doing that and the royal family had called, a no-go on that and put an end to all that, Meghan kind of had a situation, because when you think about it, she was merching it isn't her friend, it's probably someone through Saks, Sunshine Saks. And she was merching this person's kind of products, and it was a collaboration. But we, the public, don't know that until we hear someone cry foul, which the palace said, no go, it's time to end that. When constantly these retail people who have these products and dresses and clothing and makeup and all these different things, it's primarily clothing, which is kind of odd to me, because I guess you can't tell on television. I don't guess. I know that you can't tell on television if someone's wearing a certain perfume, or they have a certain hair tie in their hair, for instance. You don't see that, but you see anything that has a big price tag, like jewelry and clothing. And that's kind of, clothing is a necessity, but it's not necessarily a necessity, to wear designer clothing, expensive clothing. And that merch that she pushes and pushes and pushes is always quite expensive. And the fact that we see her pushing merchandise is another thing, because it's not something that we ever have seen Kate doing, is pushing merchandise. And I don't really think it's becoming of anyone in a royal position. And, if modernizing the royal family means creating an atmosphere where they are working in collaboration with the retailers and jewelers and clothing designers and numerous other types of businesses to increase their sales and increase popularity with the common folk, if you will, seems to me a little beneath what royals would need or want to do when there's such higher gain to go after in terms of making things, making money, and being relative and helping other people or businesses that are worthy of it, and not worthy of just like the partnerships behind closed doors. Like, everything Meghan seems to do is a lot often these days about the dollar bill. And it's so clear to so many people that it makes the royals look ugly. They say that if your personality, your character is ugly, then you look ugly. And you can be the most physically attractive person. But how often do we see someone that in our own lives that is just very attractive, that we either know personally or we heard of, or a friend of a friend of a friend, and that person becomes really ugly when you see them act without decorum, without, a good reason. Their behavior is something that, an abomination that you've never seen before. And you can't believe that you could equate that with that person. It's the same thing for royals. They can have all the money in the world, and that will allow them to go here and there and get this and that. But in terms of making people believe on an honest level and an authentic way that they're sincere, can never happen if your actions and your character aren't in line all the time, or at least 95% of the time. And so I think that's what we're seeing with Meghan Markle and some of these things that are happening and that are kind of emerging now, especially with this newspaper, magazines, and clothing. So it tells me that, yeah, she may have some things coming up in terms of opportunities. Like, is she going to merch clothing of her own? Is she going to be putting out her own designer things under the Sussex Royale label or any other label, but that goes under the foundation itself, the name? And with the foundation, the Sussex Royal Foundation, is that going to be where they're going to have like logos on t-shirts and hats and boats and sales and things to kind of let you know that they're involved? So if they have an organization that has volunteers or people paid, they'll have a logo along with which they do already, along with the Sussex Royale the Royal Foundation. They'll have that logo, and will it be on all volunteer clothing and hats and bags, and I mean plastic bags, like when people for the foundation are involved with other organizations that are involved with the foundation, the Sussex Royal Foundation, will they be like, emblazoned with this logo that they've trademarked? Will they send out a new magazine? Like, this is interesting. And I could see this happening since we know Meghan likes to write. She likes to write. And since she's having, and Harry's having issues with the journalist and papers and publications and all these journalists, they're not going to have the 411 on what Meghan and Harry are doing, because they're going to publish it first in their own magazine, which is really reminiscent of Oprah Winfrey, Rachel Ray, and I can't think of anyone else at the top of my head. But if you notice, you'll see that we've got these magazines coming out. And I remember Rosie O'Donnell had a magazine. I don't know if she still does, but you'll see all these magazines affiliated with entertainment people. And I'll repeat that. You see a lot of these magazines with entertainment people. And I'm not really that shocked that this is where Meghan is, or could be heading, because we know nothing definitive, but we do know there's hundreds of trademarks, and that includes clothing, magazines, and newspapers. So you could see maybe a Sussex Royal magazine or the Tig magazine under one of her, royal trademarks, maybe an offshoot or a sub-shoot of the Sussex Royal Foundation or the Royal Foundation or the Sussex Foundation, or it could incorporate that, and it can also be a sister company. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Tig come back, considering that Meghan had, I think she had the Tig trademarked. As a matter of fact, I'm sure of that. And then I think there was an article not too long ago, and if I can find that link, I will put it in the description, that she has, the Tig has reemerged. So the Tig may in fact come back. Maybe she's not going to be the head of it. Maybe she's going to have a foreword on every Tig blog that comes back that she wrote, or a small article or intro, and she'll have other people writing it for her, but she'll head up or put a note or two in, and she'll have also a keen eye for some of she'll have access, is what I'm trying to say, to a lot of the designers and industry people, that she doesn't really have to be the one actually wearing the designer clothes. She can now have the door opened to her writers and her journalists, her editors, that can get that information, because she is in a position of power to negotiate that with other people and designers, or just have the door open because she herself was once involved with, say, Jennifer Myers. So she might be able to have that door open for her writers of her magazine or newspaper to be in on that stuff. And that's more newspapers. And in terms of in terms of newspapers, I could really see Meghan Markle having a newspaper with Prince Harry, and it be exclusively shoving a lot of the information into our faces and funneling that information that they want people to absorb through their publication as a newspaper. So they can hire their own journalists, they can hire their own writers and reporters to do all that for them. They can choose people who are going to, have the advertisement that they think we should see. So it really is reminiscent of Trump. It reminds me so much of President Trump. And I even flinch when I say President Trump, because really most of the United States doesn't love President Trump because of his appropriation of his power, of his position. I don't know power, but his position. And Meghan hated him. She talked against him for the same reason. He wants to buy Fox News, or he did. He does the same thing. And she took a cue from our president of the United States currently. And hopefully that'll change going forward. But I don't know if anybody else will be any better or worse. But I do know that Meghan starting a magazine would maybe be a way to merch her own things, or would merch her things, but also would be able to have a side note or merching or collaboration with other designers and jewelers and perfumers and all these other kind of entertainment type things. And that would kind of be a huge handshake in collaboration with many other entertainers and exclusively for the entertainment business. The Royal Foundation, if it has a newspaper, then we know that that newspaper is going only to talk about everything that they are involved with and shine light on only the agencies and organizations and people that they are either collaborating with or fully believe in, whether that be 100% or if it's some type of exchange or barter of services in terms of, highlighting a agency that they work with, even just a little, and merching their logo on maybe products that have to do with or products that you wear and that you see when you have the Royal Sussex Foundation maybe out in the public eye, and they have their staff, maybe, again, volunteers and such in that clothing. Because I think it said that it's going to be the clothing, it's newspapers, I think I have it right here. Let me just sit back down. So the Intellectual Property Office, and I'm not sure because this is an article obviously on their site, but let's see if I can scan down. Here it is. So that's the trademark number. So if some of you are really good at searching trademarks, then there's the trademark number. And it goes on to list classes. Like class 16 says it's printed matter, instructional and teaching materials, printed materials for educational purposes, printed publications, books, educational books, textbooks, magazines, newsletters, periodicals, printed reports, fact sheets, brochures, programs, notebooks, note cards, greeting cards, paper, cardboard, photographs, stationery, office requisites, except furniture, artist materials, pens, pencils, bookmarks, activity books. Very interesting. Would the Sussex Royal Foundation be building schools and offering educational materials in their schools that preach and promote their theories and twist on the traditional education that so many of us have gotten? Is it going to be better or less than? Is it going to be made up or is it going to be traditional? Is it going to be real, authentic history? Or are we going to get the prince's twist on those things? And so class 25, clothing, footwear, headgear, t-shirts, coats, jackets, anoraks, whatever those are, jackets, trousers, sweaters, jerseys, dresses, pajamas, suits, sweatshirts, hooded caps, tops, hats, bandanas, headbands, socks, scarves, neckwear, gloves, and sportswear. Are they going to be creating a line that makes you feel like you're, closer to the royals? This is what they would have you wear. Or is it going to be like uniforms? Because if it's involved with the school, is it going to be a private school? Would they make a private school and have uniforms and gear that goes with that? Are they going to sponsor organizations that, the person can wear, just like you have NASCAR in the United States, race cars, and they have the logos and sponsorships of anybody who's invested in them? Is that what we're looking at for class 25? Are we just looking at a line of clothing? I don't know who wants to buy the Sussex Royal Foundation clothing. I'm not sure, but it might not say that. It might be an offshoot under it. That might be a very cool name. Beyonce in America, she's an entertainment person and she has a clothing line. She has a few. And House of Doria, I believe, was the start. And I think that was with her mother. And then she went off to that to Park something. It's like Park something or other. I don't buy the clothing. I never see anybody I know in them. I don't know who's wearing them. I haven't even seen them in Hollywood entertainment magazines that show people in her clothing. So I don't know who's buying them. I have no idea. Okay, so it's not really unheard of for someone in the entertainment business, but here's what I don't get. She bypassed all the hard work that, say, Beyonce did from when she was 10 years old to today. Meghan Markle bypassed all the hard stuff and went straight to go by marrying into the royal family. So it's not like she has come up like this and has built this over time. It's like she came into money, and as soon as she got extra bucks, she's starting to live out her dream of doing all these different things. And it seems like if it was something that Harry wanted to do, then Harry would have been able to do it. He certainly didn't need to marry Miss Markle in order to come up with ideas that he would want to do in his life. So what I'm saying is, if Prince Harry ever wanted to make headgear and footwear and t-shirts, he could do that effortlessly in the matter of no time at all. And he could have done it 100 times over. So this seems to me, based on timing, to be a Meghan Markle headed up campaign to, do these trademarks for something she wants to do. So to me, as a layperson, she is an outsider. She is using her marriage as a foot up to be able to live out the things and ideas she wants. And she might have a ton of things she's been wanting to do. And we can clearly see she's putting an umbrella over all the things so it can encompass all the things that she may have ideas to do. And just in case she wants to do them, they're ready on the go. So Class 35 says campaigning, promotional and public awareness campaigns, marketing and promotion of charitable campaigns, promoting charitable fundraising events, marketing, developing charitable campaigns for others, developing and coordinating volunteer projects for charitable purposes, providing volunteering opportunities and recruitment for volunteers, organizing and conducting community service projects, information, advisory, consultancy services relating to the aforesaid services of all aforesaid services, and also provided online via a database or the internet. So that was Class 35, and Class 36 we're not seeing online. I did try to find this on the U.S. Patent Office in the United States. I was unsuccessful because this patent number may be UK, because I don't know. That looks like that is a UK logo here. Yeah, that looks to me, though it's a little blurry. So I couldn't find the patent number here, even though I searched Royal Sussex this and Royal Sussex that, and I just didn't see it anywhere. And I can see that it's registered in the United Kingdom. I even think that's kind of funny, the United Kingdom colonizing other countries and through war and force. But that's how it goes. So I wanted to just go over that today. Metro.co.uk, the Harry and Meghan. It's on their page today. It's 12:28. This may be posted later on today. It may be posted tomorrow. But I wanted to share my thoughts on all these patents and what the potential could mean. And if you think about it, it makes total sense, because remember, Meghan Markle used to love to write for the TIG. She loved writing about the travel. She wrote about food. She still sees herself as an entertainer. She still sees herself as somebody that's more reporting on and sharing on experiences. She still sees herself as a lifestyle person. And I feel like, in my opinion, she's not willing or ready to ever let that go. That's something that she is mostly interested in. Now, I will say that once she married Prince Harry, maybe it was part of the exchange on the agreement of their marriage. You know, when people have that much wealth, especially on Prince Harry's side, because she herself had the average wealth of an entertainer. Actually, it's on the low end of an entertainer in Hollywood, in California. So, and she had gotten to that point just a few years ago. It's not like she's had money since she was a little girl. She's had an average lifestyle, and her father had been working, of course, and her mother did whatever she did, because she obviously didn't get a master's degree until her mother was well into her 50s or 60s, late 50s, early 60s. So it's not that she grew up with money. It's not that she had a place in society that way. She had been a struggling actress probably all her life. And then she finally got into Suits. But she only got into Suits, this drama, from marrying her husband, Trevor Ingleson. So sometime in there, you see that she stepped up a little bit again after that marriage. And then as she got a little bit more successful in Suits and got into Canada, maybe she had aspirations quietly of finding someone richer and who could do better things for her. Now, I'm speculating. It's my opinion. I'm thinking like a woman who is in need of changing her life because acting is going to be, heading down south somewhere. It's not going to last forever. I'm a 40-something-year-old actress, etc., etc. I'm imagining and ad-libbing here. And of course, throwing in some of the information that we have been seeing on the internet and in articles and television. And we're just seeing that if you let them, the pieces come together to the puzzle. And so maybe she had aspirations and thoughts as she met people while living in Canada filming Suits. New people, new show, new responsibilities, new money. And, she had aspirations. It's not wrong to have aspirations. And it's not even wrong to marry someone, because you want to be that person. But you have to be honest with the person that you're in cahoots with. So it's only dishonest if you keep it from the people who you're marrying. So my thought is maybe everything was on the table between Prince Harry and her. I mean, maybe they did really like each other. Maybe there is some type of love. And that is enough to sit down and say, hey, this is a business. I'm part of a firm. I'm part of a corporation. I'm part of a lifelong business. And usually we stayed married for our lives. That's what the royals do. I'm sure they have their ups and downs, and I'm sure there's some times when it's not optimum. But they stay and band together. And I think that Harry maybe and Meghan had agreements. He had some, I'm sure, and she had some, I'm sure. And they're usually called prenuptials. But we'll never get privy to that because those are inside contracts that are highly guarded. And we just can't just thumb through them. So I really don't think that this uber wealthy prince of the British royal family is just going to just say, yeah, come on in here. That's it. Even if he wanted to, his people and his grandmother who heads up and is bringing this money into his realm, that's how the money came by, is through old money. And she's certainly not going to be like, okay, sure, anybody. So I feel like there was some type of contract, some type of serious agreement. And we don't like to say contracts, but I think that's fair. And I think that we don't know. No, I mean, we know. I know you and I, don't really are privy to know what those contracts entail. And I see that Doria's keeping a very low profile. A, because she's an older woman. And B, she knows she doesn't have to want for anything the rest of her life. I'm sure of that. And C, does she really want to be involved in all this, being on the news at her age and being involved in all these ups and downs? And I don't think she wants to get into that. My feeling is. So I think that she's a little set aside, but I'm sure she's set for the rest of her life, for sure. And I just think that in wrapping this video up, that these patents show a great deal into what's coming in the future. And I also feel like we're never going to ever hear the last of anything that this woman is doing. Yes, she probably will do some good, but is that good that she's going to do collateral damage? Like, did she set up these things so that she could do authentic good in the lives of other people and also her own life? Did she do that authentically, or is there other more aggressive reasons, more greedy reasons that these things are being set up? Does she just want to make a ton of money on the public buying their magazines or hearing the gossip straight to them? So think about it. A lot of the people who report in terms of journalists and reporters and other newspapers will have secondary information almost always. If the Sussexes, I definitely have a problem saying Sussexes. If the Sussexes release a newspaper or get into that field through other people and just behind the scenes they will be, or a magazine, never mind that they release stuff on their Instagram. And I am subscribed, but I'm not really interested per se. For myself, it's like I like to just tap in to see what nonsense is being put out there. And that's kind of what it is. It's kind of like all publicity and sugary stuff that they're doing, like sweet stuff, when I really want to know the truth. And unfortunately, if I'm putting out the truth, it's my truth. And whether you like it or not, it is what it's going to be out there. And so that's what I think the Instagram account is about. So are we going to see the same thing in newspapers and in magazines? So therefore, all the reporters and other magazines will be getting secondary information. How will the other reporters and other newspapers have inside scoops if the Sussexes are going to create their own newspaper, their own print and media? What? They're going to have secondary information. So I don't know, maybe that levels the playing field. In other words, maybe the journalists and other newspapers will have to look at other events and people. And maybe that's good for the general public because we won't have to be inundated with the Sussexes crap. Now, on that note, they will obviously put out some decent things too. I mean, things that may make sense and be of some good. So at that point, we will get it directly from them, not from other sources. And so what does that leave YouTubers and people like me who comment on that stuff? Well, that leaves us even better because we'll have things straight from them to speak of and use our audience to share with, and other people will also look into things. And so we'll all be on kind of the same page. Now, for people who like who like Meghan or really like Harry, I mean, I like Harry a lot, more than Meghan, of course, but there's some attributes Meghan has that are likable. But then there's so many more that are like questionable. So we'll all be in the same place, giving our commentary and sharing our views, and also looking at the current events. And maybe, perhaps, some of us will be able to interact by being able to just go to their functions or be at their at the place they're going to be. And some of us are in over the pond, and I'm sure there's plenty of people in Canada. So wherever they go, they'll have people that are YouTubers that will be able to engage with them in other ways, like maybe show up at an event they're hosting, especially if it's related to the public. And so if they're in the States and someone who is a YouTuber that's in their same city or town that they're holding an event will surely attend, I'm sure. So it really brings us all on the same page, and yet we'll still have our individual, views, and that we can share our views and share our commentary. And with that note, I will let this video kind of wind down and let you know that I think we're going to see a lot more in the onset of 2020 in terms of the Sussexes, especially Meghan, putting a limelight on herself, right? I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because as these things start to set themselves up and they start to go forward, they'll be doing steps in sharing that stuff with us, and that'll still be in all the other news outlets and everything. So you'll see a lot of what they're going to be setting up more and more. So there'll still be a lot of news about their new events. I just wonder, where are all the actual British royal work that they're doing? It seems like it's still going to be centric to their organization and promoting them versus, say, the royal family as a whole. Different from Kate and William. Kate and William will be representing the royal family, just like Prince Charles and Camilla do. They go on a lot of events and meetings for the royal family that have to do with goodwill. And of course, there's always some kind of exchange or collaboration, but you can see that it's for the benefit of the royals, not just Prince Charles or not just William and Kate. You just see that it's always centric to the royal family as a whole. It's goodwill and it's outreach. But in terms of Harry and Meghan, the way they're going, it's about them promoting themselves. So in the new year, it'd be really cool if they would just focus more on their royal duties. Or do they have any more royal duties? Has he been let go a little of his royal duties? Has he signed off? Has the Queen signed off on letting him go a little bit on his own? And it looks to me, based on her Christmas speech, where there was no picture of Archie, there was no picture of Harry, no picture of Meghan, no mention truly, deeply, and sincerely of themselves. It just seems like maybe they're out, sailing away on their own little craft. And the tether is very, very thin between them and the actual core of the royal family, which is the Queen and Philip and Charles and William and Kate. So I feel like they're going off in some other direction that has to do more with entertainment and self-promotion than official royal duties. So it is not modernizing the royal family. It is not anywhere or anything about modernizing the royals. It seems like it's self-promotion and self-gain. So on that note, it's Saturday. Go have fun on Saturday. Chill, relax, whatever you do. I have a ton of house work to do. I have 6 pets, and basically that's my afternoon, and then I'll be able to kind of wind down. And when I do, that's when I'll be able to upload. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.